Hello. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a nice Tuesday. I'm relaxing and resting after our trip. So I'm just at home, kind of getting some stuff unpacked and all that stuff. So I decided to do a vlog, and I've been thinking about doing this vlog for a while, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do it because I'm thinking I'm probably going to piss some people off, but that's just kind of the name of the game. Um, sometimes I make people mad with some of the stuff I say, but I'm just telling things from my perspective. You don't have to agree, you don't have to think it's okay, but I'm telling things and that I want black women to know specifically about empowering themselves, dating, maybe dating a little bit or being married, all this kind of good stuff, stuff for you to kind of help make your life better. And and it's not always good news. I tell, sometimes I have to tell bad news. And today I've got some news, and I don't really know if it's good or bad. It's not really good or bad for me because it's kind of what I expected to happen has happened when it comes to black women deciding to swirl or date out or open their options. Something has happened that I thought would happen. I've seen it on a couple of blogs. I've talked to a couple of other women who are kind of out swirling and dating interracially and stuff, and we've talked about it. And the thing is happening that I thought would happen is that black women who didn't really have great vetting skills previous to swirling are now swirling with those same bad skills. And I wrote a did a blog a while back about before you start to date IR, think there's some things for black women to kind of get together in themselves before they start dating IR. That's one thing. But there's another thing once you get out there that you have to know how to um, kind of finagle this thing. Men are really it is. Men are men are men. There are damaged, messed up men all across the board, every race, every color. That's just kind of a given. I don't really have to repeat that to anybody. But when it comes to dating and dating when you're dating white men, I think some black women are giving them passes that they shouldn't have. Now, I don't give people passes. I don't give, everybody's got the same standard with me. Nobody gets a pass. White men are not special. They're not magical. They're not anything, and stuff. And when it came to dating, he wasn't the prize. He wasn't the thing that I was looking to try to find to make my life better. I was the prize. And so since I knew what I was the prize, he was going to have to do something to gain me because I wasn't lucky to be getting him, and stuff. He was lucky to be gaining me. So I went from that perspective. So I'm here to talk about specifically about white men and about being white is not enough. And I think some black women and some white men are thinking that that's enough. That if the guy is white, with, as I've heard, white features. Sorry, that's so ridiculous. I can't even hardly repeat that. Was that a thing that black women were asking for, and some white men were being turned down because they didn't have white features? And I'm like, what is that? And but anyway, people's weirdo sort of thing and their own little issues and all that sort of stuff that they're bringing into dating. But being white is not enough, and I want black women to know that just because a guy is white doesn't make him amazing. I'm not particularly to tell you the truth, I'm not particularly impressed by whiteness. It's not this this amazing thing every white guy I see. I'm not mooning over or thinking he's wonderful or thinking he's a wonderful husband or thinking he's a wonderful partner or he'll be a great date. I've dated white men a long time. I dated, moved here when I was 20, dated guys when I lived in Texas for a few years, moved here when I was 20, dated a bunch of guys here. Some were really great guys and some were just jerks, just bums, absolutely bums. And as you know, my ex-husband is white, so and he was not a good husband, to say the least. So that's not the part. I'm not impressed by the whiteness part. I'm impressed by the manhood part. You can be a man. And so white men, and particularly a lot of black women who have decided, well, I'm just sick of black men. I'm just sick of them. I'm just going to give me a white man. I'm just going to give me a white man. Are coming over here thinking that whiteness is enough and that they're not vetting for anything else. And what's happening is they're ending up getting their feelings hurt and the heart broke. And and they've been hearing all this stuff from blogs saying, yeah, they white guys, they're so great, they're so awesome, blah blah blah, and they don't really have any skills to kind of pick a great guy, and so they're just picking any old guy, and then they end up with their feelings hurt, and they're a little hard on the ground, and then they're wondering how this happened. Wasn't he supposed to be so great? He was white, he was supposed to be so fantastic and all this stuff. And it's like, no, that's not enough, and my hope is that I can spread some information about vetting. And we were talking about that on Facebook today. And there's a wonderful page on Facebook called Black Women with Other Brothers that I think you need to check out if you do swirl. And it's wonderful. And it's awesome. And she's really funny too. The woman who runs it, her name is Dee Dee Russell. She is absolutely hilarious and stuff. And it's a good place. And they were talking about vetting because you need to vet. And vetting is really at the essential part of vetting, at the base point of what vetting is. It's figuring out whether a man is worthy of you. That's it. And but you have to have some worth. You have to think of something. You have to think something of yourself. And too many women, especially black women, don't think they're a prize. They're so busy. They've been so busy, kind of grabbing on to any man, throwing themselves out like boxes of meat to every man that comes along, hoping somebody will love them and complete them, that they don't even see themselves as a prize. And they see the guy as the prize, and the guy is making all the rules and doing all the stuff, and the woman's just trying to go along and stuff, and he's doing all the stuff, and she's not making him work for her. And that's the thing. He's supposed to be working for you. You're the prize. You're the wonderful woman that's going to come into his life. You're the prize, not him. He's supposed to be wooing you. He's supposed to be courting you. He's supposed to be treating you like a woman. He's supposed to be letting you know that, you know what? If we're dating or whatever and you're thinking about, I'll make a good husband for you, I'll make a good father, he's proving something to you. You also have to prove something to him too, but he has to prove something to you. Women aren't asking for anything. Actually, we're trying to prove a bunch of stuff to men while men are just sitting back kind of looking like, yeah, whatever. And we're not asking of anything of them. And so we're going from black women are going from this thing where they have, not been really vetting black men, so they end up with a bunch of bummy black men and stuff, and they're all, distraught and decided, well, this is a new thing, I can date a white guy or whatever and stuff, and now they're getting a bunch of bummy white men, and stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, if you don't know how to vet, if you don't have any self-worth, if you don't feel any better about yourself, if you have an inferiority complex, if you're worshiping his whiteness, it doesn't matter about you going over to the other side and swirling dating. That doesn't matter. All you're going to end up, if you don't know how to pick a guy, all you're going to end up is with a white guy, just like the black guy that you had that treated you bad. He'll just have a different name and a different face. That's it. But it's you. You're the one that's picking the person. He's not picking you. Women are the ones that are in control of this in many ways. And so if the guy doesn't want to do what he needs to do, if he thinks, oh, that's old fashioned, or you know what, then he's not the guy for you, because he's supposed to be proving himself to you. Remember, once again, ladies, you're the prize. You're not a box of meat. You're the prize. He's supposed to do some chasing. He's supposed to prove something to you. He's supposed to, you're supposed to be a little bit of a challenge. Don't just throw yourself out there like bacon slab, and stuff. You're worthy of more. But I wanted to go into kind of, with being white is not enough. Kind of, there are four types of white men I would personally tell black women to avoid, you know. And there's probably more, but these are my biggest ones and some of the ones that I've come across that I tell black women to just avoid at all costs. If you decide you're swirling, you're new to all this, you're new to dating, outside the race and everything, and this stuff is new and you're trying to figure out. But guys are guys, and as I say, they will take the path. All of them will take the path of least resistance. Okay, if you make it easy for them, he's not going to turn down your easy. That's for sure. He may get tired of your easy after a while and drop you, but he's not really going to turn down your easy when it first sort of happens. He's going to take the path of least resistance because that's what people do. Hey, why not make it easy on myself? If she'll do all the work, if she'll do everything, if I could just, not take her out and I can get all the sex I want, if I don't really have to do anything and all that stuff, why wouldn't I do that? If she makes all the moves, if she does solves all the problems, then I'll stay around and I'll enjoy it for a while until I get tired of it or find somebody else who I find more interesting and more challenging, and then I'll move over to them. Okay? So you can't bring your bad vetting skills over here and think that somehow his magical whiteness is going to make your life so much better and change who you are, and stuff. So number one is, and you'll have to excuse me, number one is Captain Saberho. Number two is Mr. Superiority Complex. Number three is Shy Guy / Player. And number four is the White Homeboy. Captain Saberho is a man that it's a white guy that usually has dated usually black women who are at a lower income level, usually on welfare, probably with a couple of kids that they weren't married to their dad, maybe a couple of babies that they had with some other dudes or whatever and stuff. He likes her, and I've met this guy, and I went out with him for a little while and didn't really understand. He was telling me how he had dated all these women, and they had all been on welfare and all had lived in housing, and I was wondering, okay, and stuff, and he was just telling me how he would, take cereal and diapers to their house, and they were just so grateful and do little stuff and all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, and I was in college at the time, and he wondered why I didn't have a kid, and I was thinking, well, I don't have a husband, why would I have a child and stuff. So he was just kind of like, shocked. They see black women as somebody to save, and you have to be careful about men who want to do too much saving, and stuff, because really what they want is someone who's kind of codependent on them, and stuff, maybe to open up to emotional abuse. I'm not saying women on welfare shouldn't date white dudes, or I'm not saying women on welfare shouldn't have dates. I'm saying you as a woman that's lower income or whatever, you shouldn't have smoke blown up your behind by some jerk that's gonna start treating you badly, as soon as you're not really happy about him bringing Pampers and cereal for you and stuff. You know, he is setting up as an emotional abuser. He did not understand me. He did not get who I was. He thought I was disrespectful, which I didn't really get because I didn't appreciate all that. He just did, like, I was young. I was in my early 20s, like 23 or 24, because I didn't appreciate all that little stuff. He was doing the little, stuff I thought was dinky. Personally, he brought me a stuffed animal. I hate stuffed animals. And so when he brought me the stuffed animal, I was like, oh yeah, thanks. I was just, so all the little stuff that he would have done with a woman who was lower income with kids and maybe seemed more desperate to him for a man, he did that stuff with me, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. But he had dated all these women, and you have to also be careful about what kind of, if you're going to date a white guy, what kind of, if he's dated black women before, what kind of women has he dated? Because this was his whole criteria and stuff. This was his full criteria of what he wanted in a woman. And he told me that was kind of his preference, and I was just like, okay. And we just went out for a week, and then I was like, oh, I'm too done, dude. I can't do it. I'm just, and he really kind of disliked me because he just thought I was disrespectful. But I was not impressed, and stuff. I wasn't living that sort of life, and I wasn't desperate, and I didn't need to depend on him to come and save me and all that kind of stuff. You have to be careful for those kind of men. The number two, the one with the superiority complex. There are white men who date other race women, black women, Asian women, Latino women, to feel superior to them. And they will say stuff that will be something part of their superiority complex. They will down you. They will down the race. Okay, say kind of blanket statements about black people and all that sort of stuff. They exist. It's almost like dating somebody, but not exactly. I want to say it's almost like dating somebody, like dating a racist. It's really, and it's weird, but there are people like that really think it's great. She's his thought is she's lower than me in racial status. She's lower than me in racial status. That can make me feel a little better. It's a little bit of a play on the Captain Save-A-Ho, and stuff, and that will make me feel better about myself. And it doesn't kind of matter if the woman is low income, middle income, high income, educated, non-educated. He thinks he's better just for the sake of being white. And so you have to be careful for those sorts of men. That's not somebody you want to date. You don't want to have to do all that. You don't. It's not okay for people to make those statements and somehow expect for you to agree because you're with me, the white guy. So of course you think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, let's just say, and stuff. So they make those statements, and people, they feed their superiority complexes via dating you. The other one is the shy guy player, and I told you before, there's no such thing as a shy white man. He don't exist. They don't exist. There's just a man who wants the path of least resistance. That's it. And what's happening is that they have figured out that many black women want to date white men, and they're on a lot of the IR dating sites, and I'm not going to say who, but they're on a lot of the IR dating sites kind of trolling for women because really they don't want to talk to women in public, but online they're more than happy to talk to women and stuff, but they wouldn't dare talk to them in public. And the thing is, they're drawing these women in with all this sort of stuff, and the woman is thinking, oh, I just really like him, oh, he's such a nice guy. And what's happening is he's really a player. What's happening is these shy guys are sexing women down, and going on first dates, having sex with women, have a continual sexual relationship with women, and dropping them, and stuff, and doing that with a lot of black women. But because many black women are so needy and so desperate for a man, they're giving away everything. They're not asking for anything. This guy's not taking them out on a date. He's not taking them out in public. They're just going to the house. Somebody's talking about eating pizza, and next thing you know, it's on and stuff. And that is how the relationship kind of, and it doesn't last long. It's maybe a month or two, and then he's kind of, as most guys, he's kind of tired of that. And he could go on this site and find other women who are really desperate trying to find a white guy, and then play shy guy, oh, I'm just so shy, I'm so intimidated, and then, pull out his player thing when you go to his house, and then he's doing every little thing. This scenario I've heard of happening a couple of times. Men doing that, and it's not like the guy was maybe a mean guy. It was just sort of easy. That's it. There was just a woman throwing herself out there to have you have sex with her, no strings kind of attached, at least for him, and stuff. She's thinking if they have sex, somehow that's going to create a bond, but sex does not create a bond with people at all. And stuff, and it's going to create a bond. And the guy's just thinking, oh, great, I get all the free sex I want for as long as I want, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to make any effort. I don't have to do anything. So, ladies, please, be careful. And once again, there's no such thing as a shy white guy. There's no, this man is doing all this stuff in the world, you're not too much for him to make the effort to pursue you and to date you and to court you like he would any other woman. He's just lazy, and and you're making it easy for him. The next is the white homeboy. White homeboy, I've never done, would never do, ever. I'm not interested in somebody who wants to be somebody else. I'm not interested in dating Eminem. Just personal thing. That's not my thing. The reason I did IR dating because I was a little different than most, black women, and maybe really not, to tell you the truth. Now that I've come to find this, maybe I'm not and stuff, but I was different in where I was, and I wanted somebody who we had some common things in common and stuff, so it kind of pulled me into the direction of interracial dating. This is the white guy that is wants to be what he thinks is stereotypically black, with all the talking and the dressing and all that. I'm sorry, that's not okay. That's not okay, and stuff. He's calling people the N word, and yeah, no, that's not okay. That's not ever okay. And stuff. And he's hanging out. Usually, he hangs out with a bunch of black guys, and I would be really suspect of any white guy that hangs out with a bunch of black guys, because usually those guys may be telling him really crazy stuff. Oh, you don't want to mess with black women this, like, and stuff. That's you're asking for a bunch of trouble. You are asking for trouble. And many black women think, oh yeah, it'd be just like dating a black man and stuff. Yeah, it's no, it's not. It's not for you, and it's not something you want to do, and you're going to end up probably with your feelings hurt. And usually with those guys, they have since they have sort of a stereotypical kind of thought about black people in general. That's why they're dressing and talking and doing the stuff they do. They're thinking you're stereotypical too. They think you're like the video chick or whatever, or you're like, any kind of, the hood movie chick or whatever. They think that's you. So they don't really understand you if you're being something else. Um, so I would suggest that you just, you try to find someone who is himself, and not trying to play a role or not trying to be stereotypical, and stuff. And I'm not asking him to act white. I don't even know what that means. But I don't want anybody that's trying to play a stereotypical role and trying to be a caricature. That's not my thing. I'm not into that. Also, I would suggest too, and this is one I didn't include, that you include the white man that hates white women. I've never ever dated any man that hated women. You have to be careful about men that hate women, period, because when they say they hate women, or when they act like they hate women, that usually means they hate you too in some way. But any white man that hates white women and talks badly about white women, I would be suspect of, because his mom is probably white. Okay, his mom is white. So why are you telling me all this? It would be like me dating, a white woman dating a black guy and him hating black women. I don't really understand people that would date people that hate people of the same race as them. I don't hate black men. I don't, I love the black men I love, but most black men I care less about and stuff. So it's not okay to be sort of this thing that he somehow discovered, because he discovered he hated black women. I mean, he hated white women, and somehow you're the opposite of that. So he wants to be with you, and stuff. That's not, you need to want to be with me because of me, not because I'm black, or not because I'm not the white woman. Now, there's lots of white men who maybe have a preference for black women, but that preference shouldn't have anything to do with white women at all, And I have a preference myself. It don't have nothing to do with black men. They don't even figure into the preference and stuff. So you need to be careful for him. Any man that hates this set of women and talks about this set of, I would be suspect of. That would not be a compliment to me. And I know to many black women, because many of them don't like white women. They think that that's a compliment, or so. That's not a compliment to you, because his mom, his sister, some woman. There's a woman in his family, and stuff that he's made this statement about. So I would be suspect about him and have to look at him twice. Now, this is just kind of a general conversation for black women about what you need to look for, or what needs to be some, because you will probably run across these men as you're out dating interracially. They are there. I know them. I've heard of them. People have told me stories. I've dated maybe one or two of them and stuff. So they're there, and so you need to know how to vet better so you don't end up with some guy blowing smoke up your behind and you thinking you got this wonderful guy just because he's white, he's just so fantastic and spectacular, and you think you got this wonderful thing and really you just got another bum, in a different package and stuff. So, ladies, just be careful, and stuff. Be careful about what it is that when you go out here that you're looking for and trying to find, and what it is that you need, and do some soul searching, do some stuff, if do some stuff to make sure that you're worthy of something better, something more dynamic, for someone to court you, for someone to want you for who you are as a person, and not just this kind of character or entity or this thing that they think that they can control, because they think, well, you're just a black woman and really, it's just a bunch of people that just don't really want you and you're not really celebrated. So, I can come over here and I can take advantage of the situation and just get everything I want to get, and then I'm out, and stuff. So don't end up in that situation, because I don't want women to walk away from here to go in this world and then be like, oh my God, I thought this was great. I thought white guys were this and that, and then they get their feelings hurt, and then they're back to another set of bums, back to the old bums that they had, instead of seeing people on an individual basis and judging them for who they are, their character, instead of just kind of being, all freaked out by this, magical whiteness that they think is going on and stuff. There's nothing impressive about just that, and stuff. So, that's just a little piece of advice that I have. I hope it was helpful to you, and I'll talk to everybody later. Bye.